Yeah.
He said I didn't know what a bylaw was. I don't think I'm any use. I'll try to persuade you to go.
I know what a bylaw is.
You knew what a bylaw was, yeah.
Not that smart.
Yeah, but why can't you see? You see, it's a drum, it's not like broadcast. Well, it's talking. I think it's nice.
I'm not denying it.
But it's a lot quieter than it was.
As long as that's not too loud, you're then
I wasn't saying I had an issue with the security.
The police saying that's too noisy.
Oh, right. Those people, yeah. Then there's breaching the bylaws of the square. Well, I think it sounds fantastic. Look, it's playing in front of Gandhi.
Well, it's an event, it's making noise. Is it?
Well, there are all sorts of bylaws, you know.
What, starting from the other day?
Starting from what other day?
What, apparently
No, bylaws are set by the local authority, and they can be
yeah,
very
but
old.
apparently you were given legislation, apparently, if a protest was too noisy, you could stop it.
Well, no, that's. I don't know what you're
The
referring
other day,
to.
that's what they said the other day.
Yeah, but the other day could be any day. I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, the one when we had the big protest.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
No, what day
You've
was
got to
it?
give me a date or give me a clue.
One day last week.
There's lots of protests.
Kill the
Lots
bill,
of things.
when they protested against Kill the Bill, do you
I
remember?
wasn't
Wasn't here, right, okay. Well, that's what, because the bill was restrictions against protesting, and apparently you were given more powers if a protest was too noisy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was like, it was.
I'll read up on that later. Thanks.
I don't know.
So the government would say, you can't do that. We'd say, well, you're running an election. So then there'd be, you know, interesting.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. Interesting situation. No. If I win, then obviously the government will say, look, you can't do this, Mr. Bobby, lockdown's law. And I'll say, yeah, but I'm telling you, please, because I'm heavy head, you see. The electoral police should not implement this. Because
Never know.
of course,
I
think
that
yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You never know.
Well, yes and no. But you see, when we tested the COVID restrictions, in a lot of cases the magistrate said, no. That,
What do you think about what you guys know? I get that, but there's a bylaw. This guy's come up and told us that there's a bylaw that he's not allowed to play a musical instrument.
You don't mind if I follow the educational purposes?
Yeah, go for it. I'll do the same. Do you want me to read it? Yeah. So, as amended by Trafalgar Square and Parliament Square Gardens, Amendment Number 1, Bylaws 2002, Greater London Authority Act 1999, Section 385. Acts within the squares for which written permission is required. Subsection 4 is to play or cause to be played a musical instrument.
Is that a musical instrument?
What's your
How do you define a musical instrument?
Oh, yes. Yeah, they ran over the people on the bridge.
Well, they trying to find him for not standing. This country has just gone, it's gone down, and for so many years everyone's trying to get to England thinking that it's the beacon of freedom, yeah? The streets are paved with gold. Nah, not anymore, mate. Them times are disappearing rapidly.
Courage calls for courage everywhere.
Well, even coming out of the EU, it's like, you know, they said, oh, we keep all of our freedoms. Like, no, they didn't tell you that they can change them like that. One foul swoop. Mate, I'll bring the shorts on, man. It's the tan. Good getaway.
And I've always been a panther. But I did help BLM because we had the same, we want to see the same objective, which is the end to racism and more opportunity and resources in the community. And when we say racism right now, it's an end to all oppression. So BLM isn't just standing for themselves. We want unity. We called for black and white to tie the flags at the Senate top because we had the Commonwealth as well as British soldiers fight the war. So it's only right now that we realise and identify our own common enemy is the system. It's not each other. So for BLM, I say that they are doing work, they've made change, so I won't denounce them. The George Soros thing is a myth that normally far-right people or people that are traditionalists and trying to preserve white supremacists use. None of these organisations have access to that money. As you can see, the UK's BLM money hasn't been dished out. Yeah, nothing's happened yet. So at the moment, it's just rubbish, to be honest. So it's a slogan, Black Lives Matter, and that's what it is. So I stand by the slogan as I'm a firm believer in liberation right now for our people, and it's a must in this time.
You stand by the slogan, but you stand by the organisation?
No, I don't support George Soros at all. I don't know who George Soros is. He's an American.
I mean, like, with like, what they said about they were trying to like abolish the nuclear family and stuff like that.
Oh no, I don't believe in any of that. I think people will make their own choice of who they want to be. And in today's day, especially in 2021, we've seen a world that's been designed for people to have freedom in certain ways. So I'm not against anyone's bedroom choices. If I'm thinking about your bedroom choices, I'm a weirdo. Just to say that, to be frank. And I've got friends that are in the movement, and I believe that their life is in danger, and they should speak up for themselves. So it's not just Black Lives Matter, but all Black lives should matter. It doesn't matter what you do in your bedroom; it's not anyone's business. So that nuclear family stuff, I think that was to boost people that are pro-heterosexual, like the norm, and to say, oh, they're coming to take your family apart. No, you can procreate if you want to procreate. I can procreate if I want to procreate, and that's just what it is. Am I a lesbian? No, I'm not. But am I against lesbians or gay people? No, it's not my business.
Okay.
But I support them in their move to preserve their life, and that they have the right to freedom as well, and their life does matter because they're human beings. At the end of the day, they still bleed. So we can't disregard them because they've chosen to love someone. Love is unconditional. Love is blind. It's so blind that you don't choose who you love, do you? So I believe that the new way that this movement needs to be is we need to recognise everybody's life because we're all humans. But I'm just one person at the end of the day, you know. When I talk, they call me an extremist, a terrorist. So I've kind of taken the backseat. I'm doing more typing these days rather than marching.
Yeah. And can I ask you, like, full confession, like, I haven't like read this myself, right? But I've heard about like a tweet in which.
No, I didn't have Twitter at the time of this. I don't want to imprison white man, and I'm outnumbered in that. So how would I even do that? I have a white foster mother that was created. I had a meeting with Tommy Robinson that went wrong, where what would you say when someone surprises you with like a token black man who decided to tell me that racism didn't exist and stuff like that? And I said some words to him, and I stand by them because to me those words are culturally appropriate.
No. What was it? Was it that white people would be slaves or?
No, I never said that. That's a fake Twitter page. My real Twitter page is Sasha Panther 93.
Oh, okay.
So that's my real Twitter page.
Right.
That Sasha BLM was other people that made that. At the time, because I never had Twitter, I didn't know about it, so there was nothing I could do about it. When I found out and I started to refute the claims, people were saying, oh, of course you will. So then I just got fed up and said, you know what? You're not seeking answers. You made up your mind. I am who I am, and I'm going to be who I am. And I'm not a racist. I don't want to imprison anyone. That's far from my ideology and how I think. I believe that everyone's free. We all have a right to sovereign rights. As a Maroon, I'm also a Maroon. I'm from Jamaica, where the Maroon in the 1739 treaty came about. So I'm a firm believer in sovereignty. So I'm not going to be imprisoning anyone. I think they should abolish the whole prison system.
And then, so tell me more about the Black Panther Party. So you're the head of the Black Panther.
The new Black Panther Party in the UK chapter. The Black Panther was formed in the 70s by Huey P. Newton and Fred Hampton, who was then, have you seen the movie The Black Judas?
I haven't.
Okay, so that will show you about Fred Hampton's assassination and how the Black Panthers were infiltrated by the FBI, which is it's been admitted now. It's now fact. It's been presented as fact. Basically, the Black Panthers created a free food program to feed young people when they were going to school hungry and was not able to concentrate. It was also formed to protect ourselves against the police. receiving unfair treatment. I'll give you an example in the UK. 22,000 people were stopped and searched black in the first lockdown. 80% of those resulted in no further action. So it shows that it's based off of racial profiling. When we have things of reasonable cause of suspicion, we need to work out what is reasonable cause, because it's that blind area that is allowing them to pick off everybody. And then these laws are not just affecting us as black people, but it's affecting white people now as well. They're trying to take what you would call the working class white man's freedom and only give the voice to the bourgeoisie. So the proletariat is now losing their voice and is finding out that they're no different from the black man. You walk out on your street now, you're being told the same thing: get back in, shut up, be silent, walk on, go do a job, go do something. And if you refuse that, well, they're not putting money into the youth sector, are they, to stop all of this knife crime? If knife crime was a problem only amongst black boys, why are the kids in Africa not killing each other in masses? Why are we not seeing kids in Africa killing each other using knives in masses?
Why are they doing that in South Africa?
It's a demographic problem. It's a demographic. South Africa's government is made up of a majority of what? White immigrants. Factual. And it's a system problem.
It's run by the African People's Congress. Is that?
Partially.
And then they're working with the EFF.
Yeah.
And or you know,
But
the
who
EFF
are creating?
holds a lot of sway.
Who are creating these systems though? It's a demographic problem. If you look in the areas that most of these knife crimes are you seeing youth clubs? Are you seeing workshops? Are you seeing bookies? Are you seeing off license? Are you seeing constant promotion of gang violence and gang movements? That's what is promoted around them. So it's a demographic problem. If in these areas we are building up more schools, more shops, more stuff for the youth to do, instead of putting a bookie every so many walk you take, instead of putting an off license between every shop, there's an off license, between every couple of houses there's an off license. If we are putting in infrastructure, we should stop that. This government, the police last year, the TVP police, I don't know about the Met police, but the TVP had £800,000 towards rehabilitation. They didn't use that money for rehabilitation. They gave that money to their friends who owned organisations, and they told their friends to turn their organisation into youth initiatives. So like woodwork shops, that's sending the youth to live out a self-fulfilling prophecy. What if he doesn't want to make wood all his life? What if he wants to be an actor? What if he wants to do dance? What if he wants to travel? What if they want to do more than just make wood? We have to start using the money that's there for the things that they're there for and put it into those services and give back to the community. When we're giving the community the money to certain infrastructures, they're not using it for good. They're using it to degrade. They'll rather send you litter picking on probation and give you a good opportunity and get you to move on into something positive. That's the problem. A 2.5 million prison instead of killing austerity is a problem, because if austerity didn't exist, the crime rate would go down. But we're not working at stuff like that. Instead, they're working at a prison. And when they're working at a prison and they're creating new bills under this COVID regulation and new acts, who is it going to affect? They're filling the prisons up. So I have a big problem with that. So that is why I speak on the things I speak. When I call the police the KKK, why? The police are not held accountable. They're not held accountable. A police officer was able to kill a young woman and continue working. That's how unaccountable they are. That's how no one's looking at them. I was ran over on the Westminster Bridge. The last time someone was ran over on the Westminster Bridge, it was deemed domestic terrorism. A white man shouted nigger and ran me over on the Westminster Bridge, and he was charged with dangerous driving. And nothing was done about it. So when I say these things, I'm not just saying it. I speak with facts, and I come with facts. And that's why they want to shut me down, and they want people to think I'm a racist, I'm an extremist. Because if you listen to me and the things I'm saying, we had a country who put 3 million into the SARS unit. The SARS unit went on to kill how many young people in Nigeria? Our country didn't take accountability. We didn't send resources to help those in the hospital. We didn't help those parents that had lost their children and couldn't find them. But we put money into training those officers, didn't we? What did we train them to do? Kill. The officers here that are being trained, what they've been trained to do? Protect buildings and statues. Every protest, where do you see them standing? By the church hill. If you go by the stores, they stand in front of the shop buildings. Are they standing in front of the people? No, because they're not here to protect us. So I speak very clear on the things I say. I back it up with factual account. When I look at the Albemarle report, was the last time money went into the youth sector, and that was in the 80s, and that was a result of a riot. We're always being given pacifiers, and as black people, we no longer want a pacifier. And as a white working class, I have a white foster mother who I grew up with. So I'm not racist. I have no room to be racist. I can only love myself because she taught me to love myself. She taught me that she couldn't do my hair, so I have to do my hair myself. So I had to learn my culture, and I had to embrace my culture. She helped me to embrace my culture. Yes, I come strong, but who doesn't? When have we ever had a revolution that has been done in silence and just through marching? When I say one solution revolution, what do people think? I'm talking about slaughtering white men left, right and centre? No, I'm talking about a social revolution first. But I'm also able to know that a social revolution is probably not possible based on the current climate. So we have to think of a revolution. Whether we come together as people or we have to stand on our own in our own communities, we're willing to do so because enough is enough. When you've lived so many years, and it's like you're playing a game, you're never winning shit, you're never owning shit. Every time you own something, it goes around at least 5 to 6 years and that's taken away again. Whether it's a community centre, whether it is a grant funding, it goes back away again. Every white children that walks into the classroom, they know who they are, they know where they came from. Whether it's from a misogynist man who cut the heads of his wives off, whether it was from Honest John who called women witches and watched them be hung, they know who they are. We were told that we were savages, we were barbarics. They came and civilized us. We weren't told that Queen Munsa was the richest man ever, so rich that he gave gold away for free. We weren't told about the black contribution. We were told about the Chinese Silk Road. We weren't taught about the transatlantic trade route. We weren't taught about the black Moors who conquered Spain for more than 700 years. If you know who you are, you do better, right? When they're sending their kids to private school and sending our children to make up the next labour force, the reason that we have people like Boris is because of their private school system. They're raising their children to be leaders while we're sending us to public school to work, pay taxes and die.
But do you think that people should take their identity from their skin colour rather than their culture?
No, I think your identity comes from your culture. Skin is nothing more than a divisive tool. The colour of your skin is something that they've used to divide and conquer. It's because it's the only thing you can physically see different about yourself. Because everything else is the same. You have eyes, I have eyes. You have nose, I have nose. Ears, everything else is the same. They copy you bleed red, I bleed red. The only thing that they could use to divide us is the thing here. The black woman possessed the Eve gene. The Eve gene, she makes not only the lightest man, but the darkest man. So we know that race isn't something that separates us. If anything, we're distant cousins somewhere along the line. If history was told properly, we'll know that. But because history is not told and we're taught a Eurocentric education that doesn't serve the people, it serves the preservation of the corporation and the empire, then we can't do better because we don't know any better.
Shouldn't kids in like a European country, or more specifically like in Britain, have like a British-centric education?
Of course, but they should also know where Britain got its education from. Britain took education from the Greeks, the Romans and everywhere. Where did they take their education from? Timbuktu, where the first ever university was. So they need to tell the truth of it, so they understand that we're not people that were just savages. They didn't come into our country and help us. Flies are not buzzing around our children. At a point, heavy was the head that wore the crown, and there was a time where you invaded countries, and that's how the empire was built. No one is saying to British kids, we're going to teach you that you should hate your own. What we're saying is everybody contributed to what is here today and continue to contribute to what is here today. Like my ancestors, your ancestors, they did it together. When my ancestors came and said no dogs, no blacks, no Irish, for some reason Irish is okay now, dogs is okay now, but blacks still ain't. And I wonder, how did that happen? Because what? They divided us. At one point, we walked the same streets together. We built roads together. We had the miners and the black boys striking. Do you remember when the miners striked with the blacks? We were in unity. What happened? When did we start the separatism? What started separatism? When we look at the things like the census, who is coming back around now, the Census Act came about in 1920. Up until 1991, it never mentioned ethnicity. Why was that? And there was a flood of immigrants in the 1950s. Why did it not mention ethnicity? And the census is used to collect information to help people on services. Why did it not mention ethnicity? Why all of a sudden now we're the BAME? Where's the W in BAME? Where's the W in BAME? When you say BAME, right, there's black, minority, ethnic. Where's the W in BAME? It's a complete separatism yet again. It should just be human beings. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And the fact that they're separated the W from the BAME is again superiority. When they say majority, I see the major in majority and I see the minor in minority. We're not the minority. We can't be.
It puts everybody else down as well.
Yeah.
If I'm classed as the BAM, sort of BAME community, all of a sudden, who are the rest of you?
Who is everybody else? And when you are classed as BAME, they can't actually tackle issues that you're having in your community because you're all coming under one umbrella. But culturally, we're all different. Okay, let me break it down in this sense. In the black community, quite a few people would have sickle cell. Yeah? In the Asian community, diabetes because of the diet, rice, oily food. For the African community, palm oil affects their diet. So there's so many things that affect us all so differently. Medically, we will have different problems. emotionally we will have different traumas because we all come from different countries. Some have been exposed to war, some have been exposed to political violence, children who've been torn apart. So we would all have experienced different things. Our ancestors would have experienced different things. Us growing up still would have a different perspective. So when we're all put under this BAME thing, it's really saying, okay, all of you are just one. Just bunch you all in a corner.
You think we should abolish this sort of
Yeah, I think we should go back to what it was, where people was able to identify exactly who they were and what culture they were. In 1991, in the 2001 census, you used to be able to identify whether you're Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Indian, Chinese. You were able to identify exactly who you are. Now, it's just BAME. Just BAME. What is BAME? It's so disrespectful. What is BAME? But yet the W still remains to just be white, and we know what white is. But what is BAME?